Rolling with the triple C, I'ma make them bend the knee. Rolling with the triple C, don't really count the heat.
So Francis Ngannou is a free agent. Literally a free agent. But I will say something about Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou left the UFC and left a little bit of crumbs before he left. What do I mean by those little bit of crumbs? I mean, he was asking for insurance. He was asking to up fighters' pay. I mean, he was asking for sponsors to allow people to still have sponsors on their shorts. In other words, his decision to leave was to leave, but also leave some things behind. You know, as a fighter, I get it. Obviously, I think we all feel like there could, everybody and everybody in every organization could say things could always be better, including the UFC. And yeah, of course, who wouldn't want more money to be able to own another pink Ferrari or something of that matter? But the negotiations with the UFC, with Francis Ngannou, the UFC, they just didn't come. They weren't seeing eye to eye. But that was a given. I knew that. As a fighter, I knew since the beginning, once Francis Ngannou run out that contract to get when he fought Cyril Gane, I knew he was out. Because you know why he's out? Because there's bigger paydays. You're not going to get just a little piece of the pie with the UFC. You're going to go abroad and you're going to eat the majority of the pie, probably about half a pie. I mean, would you want 1% of a pie, 2% of a pie, or would you want half of a pie, splitting it with your opponent? I mean, there's a lot of potential matches with them. There's that Deontay Wilder fight. There is that Gypsy King fight. I mean, with unified rules where the gloves might be smaller. You might put a shirt on. You can clench. You can do certain things where the ref won't break you up. I mean, there's a lot of things in there that could happen for Francis Ngannou. Do I salute him? Do I clap for him? Yeah, of course. You know why? And I also do know why the UFC or even a guy like Dana does respect Francis, because Francis did what's best for him. Just like Dana White and the UFC, they do what's best for them. This is nothing personal, guys. This is all business. That being said, the fight with Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou, to really say who is the greatest heavyweight of all time, because that's all Jon Jones needs to do. He needs to come back, win the title, defend it a few times or whatever that may be, beat Stipe, get through Cyril Gane first, beat Stipe, beat Francis Ngannou, the greatest heavyweight of all time, and he cements himself, which he's already cemented, as the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. But Jon Jones is going to need that dance partner. I think we're probably anywhere between a year to a year and a half until Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou, if this fight ever takes place, because it's all going to depend on how that Francis outcome happens, whether he boxes or whatever that may be. And his chances of winning in boxing are very slim unless they're unified rules and the gloves are that much smaller. What you got for me, Michael?
Yeah, just to play a little devil's advocate, from my perspective, I definitely see how he'll get a bigger payday in these boxing fights, but do you really think Ngannou will translate well to boxing? Like, if he has a fight against Tyson Fury in a straight up boxing fight, like, do you really think he's gonna have any chance to have a good showing in that?
No. The reason why I say no is because Francis Ngannou has heavy hands, but that 10-inch glove is gonna take a lot of that power away from him. The sweet science of boxing, it's just different, especially with the heavyweight boxer, especially with the smart, agile boxer. That's all the Gypsy Kid's going to do, is just going to do this with the MMA glove. Now, an MMA glove would be different because even if you do this, like, there's that pocket that the glove could actually get in. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm blocking here, but look, there's pockets open. I can protect but there's pockets open. And I think the glove changes everything. I would give Francis Ngannou a chance if the gloves were smaller. If they were literally UFC gloves, like, all right, guys, you guys go out there and fight. Whew. I would almost bet the house with Francis. But the simple fact that if it does go to boxing, Francis is in trouble. I mean, there's a stoppage in there. Like, you just can't go against the heavyweight champion of the world and think because you have knockout power that you're gonna knock him out. Could anything happen? 100%. But the probabilities of it happening are very slim, like 0.001 in my eyes. So if the more Francis is able to, if Francis doesn't win this fight, the more it helps the UFC and the more it helps Jon Jones. So because it's only gonna bring him back. That's the only option that he does have, unless he goes to a one championship, where they maybe don't have the high level of heavyweights or Bellator, and you could do that. But I know the offers that the UFC gave him on the table was absolutely second to none. You're talking about an $8 million payday. I mean, it's a start. At least we know where the bar has been set. While everybody just knows that number, because now you know that the UFC is willing to pay that much. And little does Francis know, just with that little conversation and that being public, is only going to help the rest of the fighters to eventually increase pay. Because who doesn't want more money? I'm not complaining. This is the same reason why I'm coming back, to be able to do that, and to work with the UFC, to work with my boss, and see what is it that I could do to make a bigger payday.
Yeah, and just as an MMA fan, are you just a little disappointed that we're not getting that Jon Jones and Ngannou matchup, or do you think it maybe, as you said, will kind of help build the hype for it when maybe it happens a year from now or something like that?
Yeah, I think the hype will be there, but it all depends, because if Francis continues to keep winning, if he does win, if they are unified rules, he's only going to stick around in that game, because you're talking about 30, you're talking about 25 to $30 million paydays, like life changing money, where one fight you could retire and use that money to invest. And if you continue to keep winning, that just means more fights, bigger paydays. But if he doesn't win, then it gives the UFC a lot more leverage. You see, it's a game, dude. And that's one thing that I will say about Francis is Francis knows how to play the game, and he's playing the game right. Him leaving has been the best thing that he could have done for his career.
So then you think that actually, you think it was the right move versus if he hypothetically went against a Jon Jones and then decided to do the boxing?
Yeah, because he fights against a guy like Jon Jones, and I don't think it's gonna go as well as maybe he would plan, because Jones knows where he would take the fight. There's one thing that Jones does very well is he'll simplify you and just break you down. And I think simplifying somebody and then breaking them down is the smartest thing a fighter could do. He understands those concepts of the game. You lose to Jon Jones, you lose the most fear athlete in the world, or whatever it is that they're calling him. But there's a guy by the name of Jon Jones that you do want to take your chances elsewhere, to be able to make that money, to eventually come back to Jon Jones and then see if you could actually beat him. I just don't see it. Francis Ngannou, congratulations. I think you did an amazing job. I think from rags to riches, from being raised in Africa to becoming a multimillionaire, off your next fight. It hasn't happened yet, but we could all see the writing on the wall. And I hope you get every penny and every dollar. And I do believe that we will see you in the UFC against Jon Jones in the future.
Yeah, so last question. If you had to choose one of who you'd prefer for his next opponent to be, would you rather it be Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Wilder, or would you rather see him potentially have some MMA super fight in a PFL or a Bellator type thing?
No, I think the greatest matchup for him would be whoever it is that brings the numbers. Whoever it is that brings the numbers. I like the Deontay Wilder fight. I think that fight could really bring in money, just for the simple fact that they're both knockout artists. The Gypsy King, he has the ability of breaking people down, but just to kind of see more of that risk. But where is it that the pay-per-view numbers are at? Because you got to go with the numbers. You have to follow the numbers. You have to follow the money. So for that reason, they've already did a promo together with him and the Gypsy King. I think that fight should take place. I like the Deontay Wilder fight first, and then maybe take him there, but I'm not sure. I don't think he could get past either fighter if it's just strictly boxing. So I would have to go big right away, and I would go Tyson Fury. So thank you guys again for watching. It means a lot to me. So you guys remember, there's more breakdowns, there's more technique, there's more tactics, and there's definitely more cringe. So make sure to subscribe and click on that button. I'm out!